What is going on, guys, and welcome back into the studio. Now, if you are here, you're here for a shipping video. Now, we've already created this awesome diorama to absolute perfection, but the downside is the shipping, right? Not only are we talking about shipping weight, but we're also talking about how to package something so intricate and detailed and heavy. Now, if you've shipped actual sculptures before, you probably already know some of the techniques that I'm going to use to actually ship these items. But if you're also just kind of getting into shipping, whether it's in America or internationally or anything like that, it's definitely daunting. And when I first started shipping, even in the Americas, it kind of gave me nervous flutter sometimes. And the bigger the item goes, the more nervous it makes you. So there's some things that you can do as far as packaging that could be improved. I'm always looking to improve as well. So let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to do today. Now, in this shipping video, we're going to be shipping this large package internationally. Now, originally, when I first set out to create this gold level diorama in this series, my goal was to have it under 25 pounds and also to have it reach the customer in a sound, non-broken way. And to do that, we're going to package it as cleanly as possible. Now, throughout the creation process, in my mind's eye, I was always thinking about how I would like to ship this so it didn't get broken. The last time I shipped this spider, it was the medium, the silver edition on the square base. The base arrived perfectly, but one of the spiral legs broke. I could have done some things differently in my packaging ways, and we all grow as we become bigger artists. If you are a sculptor and you already ship internationally big sculptures, you know what I mean. It's daunting, it's a big thing. You have to pay to buy actually packaging material to ship it safely. Part of it, part of the shipping process. It's a lot different than when you actually ship canvases. With a canvas, you can wrap it in saran wrap, you can give it support from the box, you have the right size box, and you just ship it off, and more than likely it's going to arrive safely. Same thing for like tube paintings, when you roll them up and things like that. Even if something is a tumbler, it's a small box or small packages for the rooms that I sell, things like that. Something like that, something small in a baggie is super simple, and you kind of get used to shipping small things. That's just naturally going to happen. But when you ship big things, it can be daunting, and it can kind of leave you little flutters and nervousness in your belly sometimes. Not only do we want our customers to receive our items safely, but we just really want them to have a good experience opening the box, right? We want them to have that wow feature. Everybody wants that wow feature. So last time I shipped it like a whole spider. The legs were fully attached to the main body, and one of the legs broke off. And I was like, oh man, but they were a crafter and they were able to repair the actual leg and they were okay with it. I could have shipped them a new leg or a new spider. I offered it, they declined, and that's okay. This time what I did differently is I actually made all the legs magnetic. It's a longer process, and that's for a different video. However, it makes the shipping process easier because the legs are all packaged separately from the main body. Remember that. It makes things easier, but it just means I have to package more things, that's all. So I lucked out and I was able to get a box that has 3 boxes in one, kind of like a nesting box. The box that I got was from Amazon, and we had actually got my wife a whole new set of dishes, new bowls, large and small plates and things like that, and it has some big old sauce bowls and the soup bowls and things. We had 3 boxes. So I'm going to go ahead and use these boxes as the box to ship, but it means I'm refined to that one size. Now, each item that we're going to be shipping, it needs to be shipped and packaged in its own way, but it needs to be inside the same main box, right? And we want to make sure that it all fits inside the middle box, the third box. So we're going to be shipping the actual base itself, the log, the spider body, and all 10 legs, right? It's going to have 4 legs on both sides, and then the front appendages and actual fangs are actually like welded into the actual body itself. We also need to give some of the items actual box supports, and we also need to make sure that nothing that is on top of the item, like webbing from adhesives or any kind of like substrates or water-based glues, were to get too hot in like a truck or like on a vent or in a warehouse, that it doesn't melt onto any kind of plastics, saran wrap, or anything like that's protecting it. So we need to use parchment paper as well as saran wrap. So there's just kind of the introduction of what we got going on. I know it's a long-winded explanation, but I want you to understand why I'm going to be shipping it and packaging it the right way, because it's got to arrive to Germany safe. And I want the customer to have that wow feature when they open the box, and it needs to look professional. So everything will be numbered and labeled, and it will be ready for the customer to go. I'll also even create like little diagrams for the customer to understand where each hand-sculpted leg magnetically goes on the item. and I will also include that at the very end of the video. So go ahead and sit back, guys, as we pull out some different kinds of parchment paper, saran wrap, boxes, tape, bubble wrap, printer paper, even cardboard cutouts for bowls and dishes, the Proxon saw, Gorilla Glue, the list goes on and on. In essence, I'm going to have foam all over the place because almost everything that I create for this is going to be specifically created for this shipped. All right, you guys, so let's just jump into this video here. Now, this is the box that I was going to go ahead and ship this diorama in. And as you can see, it has an external main box. It's actually an Amazon box. And then I also had cut some little sheets of foam to put in between the box layers. So there's actually like 2 or 3 boxes, like just kind of like stacked in each other. Kind of like nesting boxes or nesting dolls, as it were. They also have some like a L-shaped like cardboard just kind of put into the corners as well. It's not like the actual angle supports that you may see in a lot of boxes with furniture and things like that, but it does have those angled cardboard boxes, and I just put in some little foam inserts just as a precaution there. Now, these 2 boxes on the interior are very tightly put together, and then it has a cardboard piece on the very bottom, but I'm going to go ahead and cut a foam section here to go on the bottom as well, just to give that a little bit extra support, because I know that I'm going to sit everything on top of this, and if something were to happen to the bottom of the box, it gets dented or dropped, I want that the bottom piece to have a lot of support there. So a lot of the items we're going to be shipping with this project are kind of like oddly shaped, and they can be just very odd to kind of wrap up. So I do have a lot of these like little cardboard kind of cutouts that my wife had received a new shipment of dishes in. So I'm going to go ahead and use these throughout this packaging project here, or session, to go ahead and give these extra support. So I'm going to put this very first one, which is a large size bowl cardboard cutout, on the very bottom. And it's going to kind of give that extra bottom of the kind of carpet, wood base, stained area, an extra support to go onto the bottom of the actual box with. Just another layer for it to be protected in case something were to happen to the exterior of that box on the bottom. But just remember, we did put the foam at the bottom of the box as well. So what we're going to use here is we're actually going to use just some parchment paper. That is just the standard parchment paper you can get in any grocery store or anywhere like that. And the reason I'm using parchment paper instead of wrapping in saran wrap, so normally if I do like a canvas work or something like that, I'll usually wrap it in like saran wrap and then bubble wrap and things like that. Because I don't really have to worry about the saran wrap sticking to, say, like the varnish surface or the surface of the painting, right? It won't really hurt it. But my worry here is that because I did make a lot of like web textures across the diorama, like, surface, as it were, as well as the log has that also. I didn't want the saran wrap or any kind of plastic wrap to adhere in any way to that E6000 kind of like little strands of webbing. And I don't want to risk it like heating up in like a truck or something like that, sitting in a warehouse somewhere. And I didn't want that E6000 to like reactivate and become tacky in any way. And then when they remove the plastic wrap from the exterior of the item, it could potentially pull some of those webs up. And I'd like for as many of those webs to survive as possible. If some of them are kind of like destroyed and dissipated along the way, then that's okay. But I want at least a little bit of that to survive. Now, I don't want to pack down the flocking either, so we do have some bush flocking on top of the diorama as well as in the log itself, and I don't want that to get completely washed out. So we're just going to package the first layer of this pretty loosely overall, and we're going to kind of make sure that the top of it has a little bit of air in there. I'm having to go around it completely with the tape because the tape really doesn't like to stick to the parchment paper, which is naturally going to happen. So we'll just continue just going down and around. And as you can see, it's just kind of just encapsulating the item in a nice layer of parchment paper. I'm also attaching that to the actual cardboard base itself, so it's adding like a pulling down stabilization effect, and it keeps the item a little bit from tilting over in weird ways, right? So the cardboard on the very bottom is just adding stability to the actual item. There we go. So there's the parchment paper on it. I don't have to worry about tugging anyway. Now we're going to roll in with the saran wrap. Now this takes a lot of saran wrap, guys. So like you might as well just go ahead and invest like in a whole roll for like any big projects like this. But what we're going to do is here, I'm going to go ahead and cover this area right here with a piece of cardboard. Now, why am I doing that? Because the legs of the spider, which is the second spider on the outside edge of the rock formation, you remember that hole that I cut into the side of the foam and sculpted? Yeah, there's a spider in there, and some of those legs are just barely peeking out of the edge of the rock formation. And I don't want those legs to get hit on anything and to break. That would be a disaster. I don't want that to happen. I don't want the customer to have to deal with it either. So what we're going to do is I'm going to put a little box right there, and I made sure that the kind of crease of the box, where there's some air there or some support, is over the legs. And we're going to wrap that with the saran wrap into place. And the saran wrap is just going to hold the box in position. And then when the customer comes in to remove that, the box will just fall away, and then they won't have to worry about that. So the box isn't actually taped into position or anything like that. So there it is, wrapped in saran wrap. You don't have to do a whole lot, just enough to get by. We're going to put a little bit of bubble wrap around it throughout the process. Now, one thing I did want to do is I wanted to make sure that the base is not sliding around in the box. It's such a heavy item, and it's got so much weight to it. If it were to start to slide around, I don't want it to damage anything else inside the box, right? Like, even if everything is like packaged individually, we still don't want to go out of our way to like create problems. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut like just a circular piece of foam that's going to wrap around the bottom wood of the base. So we're going to go ahead and put this in the very far corner, nice and easy. Now it does have a relief cut, not only because I cut that with the Proxon saw, the foam wire cutter. You can find that in my Amazon affiliate list in the description below if you are kind of looking for a really great hot wire cutter. It's down there. And that is under the foam playlist. Now here you can see like it does go around the exterior of the item here, and there's a little bit of a gap there. That way the item could breathe a little bit inside of the foam, and it's not super duper uber tight, right? It has a little bit of give and take to it. Now what we're going to do here is we're actually going to go ahead and start building a box to put the main body of the spider in. Now in the past what I had done is I had just put everything in one package and then shipped it. This time what I'm doing is I'm packing each individual item separately, and each item will be shipped in the same box, but they're all packaged in their own individual custom made little areas. So the main base rock formation is already completely set up, and it's in the box. We don't have to worry about that. Next up, we're going to go ahead and get this made here. Now, this is going to be a custom made box. Don't get me wrong, guys. It's not super duper professional grade. Like, are my lines perfectly straight? Nah, not really. But it's going to give the body of the spider a lot of protection that it's just not going to get naturally. Now, in the hindsight, this box is not deep enough. I did try to wrap the body of the spider in a little bit of protective coating, and it just didn't work out for some reason because I just didn't compensate for the packaging material like the bubble wrap or anything like that. Now I'm just using standard Gorilla Glue, which is really great for foam, to attach all these like foam pieces together. So we have the back of the foam that we cut away, and then we have the insert of the middle, which cut away all of the inside pieces. And we're going to go ahead and layer this in and let it dry out. Then what we're going to do is I'm actually going to cut a box in a certain way so that it has a hinged feature. And it's going to kind of like where the back part of the box is going to be attached to the foam, whereas the front pieces won't. It'll just be taped down. I do have to attach another piece of foam to the bottom of this box in a moment and do like a burn away to create a little bit more depth in the box. Here's that little box I was speaking of earlier. It has a double hinge feature. So you just slice the part of the corrugated box and it kind of creates a hinge. So this is definitely a learning process. Originally, I anticipated that this would go in the bottom of its own box with the log formation, but the log didn't want to fit in there after I got everything set up. So I must have just mismeasured, or maybe I was trying to wrap too much stuff around the log to keep it protected as well. It just didn't work out. I was going to use one of those little cardboard bowl cutouts for the spider, and I'm trying to get this to work because it would be a really great form fit. But I ended up having to switch some things up here. So I was like, "Ooh, let me wrap it in parchment paper." Same thing as before. It won't tug on any of the hair follicles that I had added to the actual item. We'll kind of just tuck in the corners of the parchment paper and we'll roll it up into some saran wrap, and then we can just tape it closed like this, and it would give it a really great protective layer. Same thing we did previously, right? And I'm having a lot of trouble here. I don't want to incorporate too many pieces of tape because I don't want the customer to have to like constantly cut away every single thing they come in contact with. So we'll use a lot of this just at pressure. So like 1 or 2 pieces of tape on the exterior of the saran wrap or the bubble wrap will hold the parchment paper into position. And this is at the point where I'm like, it's not going to fit. It is not going to fit. So I have to remove the cardboard cutout, and I try again. It's like, well, maybe this way, and it fits, right? But the height isn't. It's not deep enough. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go ahead and burn away some of the bottom of the foam, and then I'll add another piece of foam liner to the bottom of that box. So what we're going to do is we're just going to use the heat gun here. It's pretty stinky, but it's no big deal. I got the room kind of opened up, and it's not going to hurt anything. It does create like a crystallizing effect over the foam, so it gets really like hard and brittle. You just got to use your fingers to kind of break away what you need. And I'm only doing this where the actual body of the spider is kind of settling into the foam. So in a way, kind of, it's creating a little bit of a hugging like formation where the body can kind of just settle down into that divot we burned away. In hindsight, I should have made the walls of the box just slightly taller. But here we are. You're going to burn away just a little bit more here, not going crazy with it because I don't want it to burn through the foam that I just placed on the bottom here. And it's just going to be just enough for it to hold on to. We're going to use that same Gorilla Glue here. And we're going to go ahead and glue. We're going to glue the box bottom onto it. And I was having some struggle here, guys. Like, I've been using this Gorilla Glue all week, and it's just like, man, I'm like running out almost of it. But it's like, I'm not going to just waste it. Like, we're gonna drain this bottle here, and it's just sporadically like letting little drops out, and it's just like, we're getting by. But I just didn't want to open a new container just for this one foam project, so I just made do with what I had left in the container. So instead of wrapping the tape around it after the fact, I'm gonna go ahead and just lay the foam down on the tape here, and this is just packaging tape because I want a little bit more strength to it than Scotch tape can give me. And now the Gorilla Glue is still activating, so like it's just gonna go ahead and cure on the box like as it's shipping. It's no big deal. It's not coming in contact with any of the actual art project, so I'm not really worried about it. So it can just cure up of its own volition whenever it gets around to it, and the tape is just going to kind of hold it into position. So what we're going to do, as you can see, that the box just hinges open like that. I'm going to apply just maybe one or two pieces of foam in the box, just going to hold it steady. It's no big deal. I just don't want it shifting around too much to where it kind of like rubs some of those hairs off. We want to make sure there's a lot of that flocking hair that we incorporated into the spider legs kind of survives. We're going to apply two pieces of tape here just to kind of hold the box down. And then once we do that, we got our box there. Now, again, it has a ramp on the other side because I intended for it to kind of go into another box, and I had a recording of that, but don't worry about that. Just here it is. We're sliding it into position, and it's labeled number 3 because it is the third package that I hope the customer would order open because it is the third package in the assembly process. Just stacking some foam here. It's not really a space that's needed right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and kind of throw those pieces of foam in there just to give the overall box some more stability and some support here. Now this is the log formation. Now this is the one I was kind of having trouble with because it's very, very oddly shaped, and it's so difficult to ship these items without the arms or the branches breaking. And that's almost pretty much what happened in this situation. The customer had a damaged branch on the very front, but they were able to patch it. So they just basically just repainted it the way they needed to after they reattached it or fixed the issue. So they were able to remedy it. Now, what I did start doing in the shipment is I started incorporating some patch kit stuff. So like different flockings and things like that, like the vegetation that I incorporated into the overall diorama. I'll incorporate like extra pieces just in case the customer needs to patch something up or cover up a small flaw or a crack. Then they have a little bit of extra flocking to do that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and layer these kind of cardboard inserts for the bowl and plate set that we had ordered over the branch formations, and hopefully it kind of gives a little bit of a hugging feature, and it adds a little bit extra stability to it. I could have used square boxes. Maybe I should have done that in order to give it a little bit extra support. But I really wanted to kind of have it to where it fit in the box in a good way. And I didn't have a box to fit the log, honestly. Like, it's such an odd shape. It's like 16 inches long and it's super oblong in width because of the branches. And it really just didn't fit in a box. Not in a box that I could fit in another box. Without taking up too much room to where I couldn't fit the rest of the items in. So we go ahead and put the box cardboard layers on. and I just felt really good about it, right? And there's even a piece that's going to go into the very end of it. I was just feeling really great about it. I felt that it was going to arrive safely. You get what I'm saying? You get my drift? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and do a piece of saran wrap long ways across both ends of the log as well. And it's just going to go ahead and give a little bit extra support to that. Apply one to the other end there, just to give it some more protection. And it really does. These little bowl cardboard cutouts really do serve a really great purpose. It looks good when it's all wrapped up and it's nice, neat, and tidy. It really does serve its purpose quite well. And you can see that packaging right there is kind of bulletproof. And I do wrap it around it with bubble wrap as well. So it's like next level after that. So this is just layers to kind of protect the surface of the item, and then this is to actual protect the actual item itself. This is what protects it from getting damaged inside the box as it's shipped. All right, so we'll go ahead and give the ends of the log a little bit of attention as well, and just remember that, like, technically, I mean, it's packaged pretty well, and you would think that it's going to get delivered okay. The only thing you can ever do is just do the best you can, right, and just try to make sure that you feel like it's safe to ship, right. Originally, when I shipped this, I just did not go through this much trouble to package it, and that was my fault. And one of the legs ended up getting broken on the spider, but I did ship it differently. Now I have the legs to where they're all removable. Look at this bad boy. This thing is absolutely bulletproof, and you would never think that anything on this would break, right? Well, we do the best we can. So what I did decide to do for the legs is so there's a lot of them, right? So the fangs are kind of built into the actual body of the spider, but I have 4 legs and then 4 front arms. So it's 10 altogether. So we just need to package them very well. Now, originally, I was thinking about just putting them all in just like a piece of parchment paper envelopes and then putting them in a single box. And I did make a custom-made foam and cardboard box, similar to how I did for the body, but it's just a little bit more intricate, and it's a little bit different types of foam. And I made sure that it was a much cleaner cut. I will include that in a separate video for you guys to enjoy. So look forward to that in the future. It's just separate because it did not apply to the actual video here, and we didn't use it. So I do wrap each one individually just with some tape so the customer can just cut those out. And because they're wrapped individually, they're numbered, so they go along with a diagram. But also they are packaged individually because I didn't want the hairs to get pushed down or stuck to each other, and I didn't want them to get scratched up. But also the legs each have their own magnet set into the end of it, and I just didn't want them all like attaching to each other inside the box, so that the customer would just pull them out, and then all the legs would just be attached to each other. So what I decided to do is I decided to change things up, and I just used these small USPS boxes that I had like laying around. I've had these for a very long time and really haven't shipped anything in them. Just because it's just cheaper to ship in bags sometimes, and I can make a video on that in itself, like shipping smaller items like in like envelope baggies. But it's super duper crazy easy, guys. Like shipping in bags is so much easier than shipping in boxes. But this type of video here is just next level, like shipping wise. It's so much different than shipping something like a canvas or something like that. So each leg, a set of legs on the left hand and the right hand side of the body will have its own individual box. And because they're kind of narrow boxes, I'm able to really just slide them into the actual box we're shipping with. So we'll go ahead and wrap those up there. Remember that each one is numbered, so they're numbered 1 all the way through 10. This is a different style box here just because I had got it at a different time. That's one good thing about the USPS is the boxes all come shipped like kind of flat like that. It makes them really easy and convenient to kind of store those around the studio. Now this is one thing that I just did so much better than I did last time because I shipped the body and the legs attached already previously, and the legs just got broken because of how brittle they were. And this time because I'm doing everything with magnets, it's a complete level up on the original design of my artwork here. It is so next level, and because it is the way it's built now, it opens up me to more future possibilities of creating more intense artwork and sculptures that attach together magnetically. It's so much better than what it was. It pushed me to become a better artist, and it pushes me to just make better items in general. I'm just really excited by this prospect. So here you can see the log just slides right into place, and it's labeled number 2. So in a way, they kind of grab everything as they get to them in the box. 1, 2, 3 will be the spider body, and then 4 will be the legs on the right hand side. But they'll already have the main base out by then. And of course, I just added a little bit of foam and bubble wrap to the box itself just to kind of keep everything from shifting around too much. Now, I did make a custom designed kind of diagram for the customer. And in the actual Goliath, Birdeater, Tarantula diorama like video that I actually created for YouTube, the full-length video of like all the processes that I went through, not just the individual like actual process videos that I had released. I made this diagram for the customer, and of course gave them my like artist information right there, but that way they can kind of unbox them as they get to the legs and attach them on the spot. But just to wrap up the video here, guys, check this bad boy out. We met our goal of under 25 pounds for the shipping weight. We were at 24 pounds and 9 ounces. We dominated this project. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed the video of us just creating the overall box and the shipping profile for the package that we're sending. As you can see there, we did meet the 25-pound goal that we had for the actual package to be shipped. And that was including all of the foam and everything that we actually included in the actual box to keep it safe. So we were actually quite a bit under the shipping goal that we had. And that is actually the shipping price that I had originally estimated when we had the customer pay for it. So it actually turned out extremely on point and real. Now, just as a spoiler, I intended to put those spider legs in one box instead of those 2 USPS boxes that I had taped together. And I created a foam box from Gorilla Glue and cardboard from scratch. The only reason I wasn't able to use it is because I decided to wrap each individual spider leg in its own plastic bubble wrap. If I had not had done that, then they would have all fit into one box. So just be aware that I have created that box. I really enjoyed the process of building it from scratch. And because I was able to use the Proxxon saw and create that box from scratch, even has its own like cardboard door on the top, I will include that in its own video, separate video, so this isn't too long, but its own video in the tips and tricks playlist, so you guys can go in there and enjoy that. Now, that's just me creating the actual foam box from scratch with adhesives, and you can kind of take that and then reapply it to any kind of different scenarios that you have in the future. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Otherwise, guys, I will see you on the next awesome project here in the studio. Peace.